Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to AM News on Global Television. We are live in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Anthony Momodu. President Bola Tinubu departed Abuja for Paris for a private visit. Special advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Ajirin Gelale, reviewed this in a statement he signed on Wednesday, although the statement did not state the reasons for the visit. Gelale said he will return to the country in the first week of February 2024. Wednesday's visit is Tinubu's third to the country since he assumed office 8 months ago. Seeking to bolster its global standing, Nigeria urged the United States to back its ambition for membership in the G20 and the non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council. President Bola Tinubu personally raised the request during a bilateral meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken in the Nigerian capital. Foreign Minister Yusuf Toga emphasized the rationale behind Nigeria's aspirations, citing its position as Africa's largest economy and the continent's frequent focus on the United Nations Security Council agenda. Toga argued that Nigeria deserves a seat at the global decision-making table. United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken on Tuesday said the U.S. would provide an additional $45 million to West African nations as part of a plan to battle instability, bringing total funding under the year-old program to nearly $300 million. In a four-nation tour of African democracies, Blinken met separately with President Bola Tinubu and Ivorian President Alassane Ouattara. The trip was to discuss U.S.-African partnership over trade, climate, infrastructure, health, security, and other issues. It follows a summit in Washington with African leaders in December 2022. Blinken sought progress combating coups and extremism in West Africa in talks with two key leaders, as he pointed to Ivory Coast as a model. The presidency has maintained that there are no plans to move the federal capital to Lagos, as speculated in some quarters. Bayo Onanuga, the special advisor on information and strategy to President Bola Tinubu, stated this in a statement via his official X handle on Wednesday. According to Onanuga, those peddling rumor are dishonest ethnic and regional champions trying to draw attention to themselves. He claimed that those pushing the campaign of falsehood know they are playing politics, albeit dangerous politics, to pitch the North against the South. His statement comes after the recent relocation of FAN, a department of the Aviation Ministry, to Lagos. Onanuga said there are many parastatals that are not based in Abuja, depending on their mandate, insisting that administrative decisions should not be politicized. The Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, says the federal government is targeting a 77% increase in internally generated revenue. Edun, who is also the coordinating minister of the economy, said this on Wednesday in Abuja at the opening of the 2024 Strategic Management Retreat of the Federal Inland Revenue Service. According to Edun, tax plays an integral role in government's quest to boost revenue that will help bridge infrastructure deficit and build social safety nets that will cater to ordinary Nigerians. He commended the management of the FIRS for its commitment towards meeting its set revenue target. The executive chairman, FIRS, Dr. Zach Adedeji, said that the retreat was a historic moment to unveil the new FIRS organizational structure with commitment to revolutionize tax administration in Nigeria. According to Adedeji, the cornerstone of this paradigm shift is the establishment of a customer-centric organizational structure designed to streamline processes and enhance efficiency in tax operations. As Nigeria joins the rest of the world to commemorate the International Day of Education, UNICEF has commended the significant progress made in providing access to education for 7.2 million children in humanitarian settings across Nigeria. The commendation is contained in a statement made available to newsmen in Abuja on Wednesday by Sefiya Akau, Communications Officer, UNICEF Nigeria. Akau quoted Christine Monduete, UNICEF Nigeria country representative, as having commended the collaborative effort of the government, donors, and partners, calling for concerted efforts to enhance school safety in Nigeria. Monduete said that Nigeria had shown a commitment to creating safe school environment by endorsing the Safe School Declaration and developing the minimum standards for safe schools. She, however, said there is room for further progress, while also calling for collective responsibility in safeguarding the educational environment for every child. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, witness Haman Adama Bello has told the Federal High Court Abuja how Winifred Oyo-Ita, the immediate past head of service, used her companies to launder government funds while in service. Bello, a chief superintendent of EFCC and head special investigation team, told Justice James Omotosho in Abuja when testifying as the 8th prosecution witness. The prosecution witness number 8, while being led in evidence by the EFCC lawyer Farouk Abdullah, said his team received intelligence from the Office of the Anti-Graft Agency's chairman sometime in 2019. The witness said the team invited Oyo-Ita and her special assistant, Oban Efiok, having received an analysis document relating to intelligence. The team had interaction with them, and in course of the interaction, Garba Umar, who also is the defendant, became a person of interest for the investigation, and he was invited. The Nigerian Navy Forward Operating Base, Igbo Koda, said it had discovered 5 illegal refineries in some communities in the Araromi seaside area of the Ilaje local government area of Ondo State. The military said the illegal refineries contained a total of 365,000 liters of crude oil, adding that the illegal refineries are undergoing destruction. The commanding officer of the base, Navy Captain Wasuku Alushi, disclosed this on Wednesday after he led the military team on a tour of the illegal refining sites. According to him, the move was in furtherance of the Navy's fight against crude oil theft and other related vices in the Niger Delta region, specifically in a larger local government area of Ondo State. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, on Wednesday arraigned the 72-year-old virtually impaired man, Murtala Adebayo, for allegedly defrauding a man of 19 million naira. Adebayo was arraigned on a 3-count charge bordering on obtaining money by false pretext before an Ikeja Special Offences Court. The defendant, whose residential address was not provided, however, pleaded not guilty to the charge. The EFCC counsel, Babangida Issa, thereafter urged the court for a trial date, given his not guilty plea. The defense counsel, Bamidele Ogundele, however, informed the court of a bail application dated January 24th, but the prosecution informed the court that it needed time to go through the bail summons. Ogundele thereafter prayed for a short adjournment to enable him to move the application. According to him, the defendant has health issues and is virtually impaired. Nigeria has reiterated its stance on the two-state solution to the crisis between the Palestinians and Israel. Minister of Foreign Affairs Yusuf Atoga said these are the end of the bilateral talks with U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken in Abuja. He said Nigeria would, however, continue to stand on the issue of common interest with development partners in resolving the crisis in the Middle East. Responding, Blinken said America would continue to move towards a lasting solution to the crisis, adding that measures must be taken to have a lasting peace. Blinken was in Nigeria on an African nations tour to strengthen bilateral relations with a focus on security, the economy, and humanitarian concerns. Officials of the Federal Capital Territory Administration (FCTA) have begun profiling areas worst hit by kidnappers. The director of the Department of Development Control of the Federal Capital Territory Administration, Mukhtar Galadima, who led the team, said the exercise was to ascertain the causes of kidnapping and solutions. At the commencement of the profiling at the Sagwari Layout Estate Duse in Bari Area Council, where kidnappers abducted some residents recently, Galadima said the officials, with the support of security personnel, will identify buildings without approval and other illegal activities in the area. According to him, the area was surrounded by structures built without the consent of the Development Control, which are aiding criminals to operate. No fewer than 30 persons were killed in Plateau State in the early hours of Wednesday by gunmen who attacked the Kwaha Salik village, Mango local government area of the state. It was gathered that the victims, who were mostly women and children, had run to the house of a community leader in the area on Tuesday night for safety following an earlier unrest during the day in Mango town when the gunmen surrounded them and killed all of them. A community leader in the area, Mark Haruna, confirmed the death toll. Haruna said what happened at Sabungeri and Mango town was just a distraction so that the attention of the people will be shifted away from the villages. The chairman of Magavo Development Association, Joseph Agwankart, also confirmed the killing, describing it as callous. In a related development, Justice Enyaneko of the Federal High Court in Abuja has granted bail to the immediate past governor of Anambra State, Willie Obiano. He ordered that the former governor should be restricted to the court jurisdiction. He ordered the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to deposit the defendant's travel documents with the court registrar. Oko then ordered the registrar to notify the Nigerian Immigration Service of the development. The prosecution counsel, Silvano Satahi SAN, had prayed the court to remand the former governor. He subsequently adjourned the case till March 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th for continuation of trial. The governor of Ondo State, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, has dissolved the state executive council. The governor also relieved all senior special assistants and special assistants of their duties. In a statement by his chief press secretary, Ebenezer Adeniyon, on Wednesday, the governor said the development would take effect immediately. All the affected officials are directed to hand over all government properties in their possession. The governor thanked the affected officials for their services and contributions to the development of the state. Meanwhile, Ondo State Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa has picked a former deputy clerk of the National Assembly, Olade Adelami, as the deputy governor of the state. This came a few hours after the governor sacked all commissioners and special advisors on Wednesday. In a statement issued by the chief press secretary to the governor, Ebenezer Adeniyon, the name of the new deputy governor has been transmitted to the State House of Assembly for approval, and his nomination will be announced by the House of Assembly. The Independent National Electoral Commission (NEC) says all is set for the Akoko North-East and Akoko North-West Federal Constituency election scheduled for February 3rd in Ondo State. The state resident electoral commissioner Olutoyin Babalola said in Akure on Wednesday that non-sensitive materials had been received from INEC headquarters and sent to the two local government areas. Babalola, who spoke on the sidelines of a two-day training for supervisory presiding officers, SPOs, at the INEC office in Akure, said the adequate number of bimodal voter accreditation system BVAS machines had been configured for the election to hold in 329 polling units. Babalola said that adequate arrangement had been made for transportation of personnel, non-sensitive as well as sensitive materials to the polling units on the election day with adequate security cover, adding that the police and other security agencies are working with the Commission to ensure the peaceful conduct of the by-election in the state. You're watching AM News, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times, channel 276. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms using Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your screen. When the AM News returns, CBN will bring inflation down to 21.4% in 2024. This news continues shortly with details of these and more right after this break. Please stay with us. Back if you're just joining us, this is Global Television bringing you live broadcast of the AM News. Thank you for staying with us. And back to the news. The National Emergency Management Agency says it has repatriated 975 stranded Nigerians from Niger Republic in 2023. The NEMA Coordinator, Kano Territorial Office, Dr. Nuruddin Abdullahi, disclosed this in Kano. Abdullahi said the returnees were brought back under the care of the International Organization for Migration from Niamey, the Niger capital, through a voluntary repatriation program. The coordinator said that the returnees were trained on various skills and provided seed capital to be self-reliant. The program was for the distressed who had left the country to seek greener pasture in various European countries and could not afford to return when the journey became frustrated, he said. The returnees comprised of 561 male, 152 female adults, and 262 children from Enugu, Kaduna, Kano, Borno, Yobe, Sokoto, and Bauchi states. On the foreign scene, more than 70 people were killed after a tunnel collapsed at the Malian gold mining site last week, AFP reveals. A local gold mining group leader and a local official said it started with a noise. The earth started to shake. There were over 200 gold miners in the field. The search is over now, and 73 bodies had been found. Omar Sidibé, an official for gold miners in the southwest town of Kangaba, told AFP of the incident. The same toll was confirmed by a local councillor. Mali's Ministry of Mines, in a statement, announced the death of several miners but did not give precise figures. The government offered its deepest condolences to the grieving families and to the Malian people. It also called on the communities living near mining sites and gold miners to be careful and respect safety requirements and work only within the perimeters dedicated to gold mining. Iraq have accused the United States of contributing to a reckless escalation of violence in the region after American airstrikes targeted Iranian-backed groups in the country. The pre-dawn air raid came against an already explosive regional backdrop fueled by the war in Gaza between Washington ally Israel and the Iranian-backed Palestinian Islamic movement Hamas. The Pentagon Chief Lloyd Austin said U.S. forces had carried out necessary and proportionate strikes against 3 facilities used by the Iranian-backed Kataib Hezbollah militia group and other Iran-affiliated groups in Iraq. U.S.-led coalition forces in Iran and Syria have been targeted in more than 150 attacks since mid-October, many of them claimed by the Islamic resistance in Iraq. a loose alliance of Iran-linked groups that oppose U.S. support for Israel in the Gaza conflict. Russia said Wednesday that an Il-76 military transport plane carrying 65 Ukrainian prisoners of war had crashed in the western Belgorod region bordering Ukraine. Vyacheslav Volodin, the top lawmaker in Russia's lower court House of Parliament, said the plane had been shot down by Kiev. He also blamed the Western missiles. The crash occurred in the Korochatsky district, northeast of the region's capital, as disclosed by the regional governor, Vasyslav Gladkov, adding that investigation team and emergency services are working on the site. Gladkov had earlier announced a missile alert over the region, but it was not clear if the two events were connected. China said it would next month cut the amount of banks must hold in reserve to boost lending. The decision comes as the world's second-largest economy faces multiple headwinds, including a prolonged crisis in the property sector, sluggish domestic consumption, and weakening of foreign demand. People's Bank of China Governor Pan Gongshang said at a press conference of the State of Council Information Office on January 24th that the reserve requirement ratio will be lowered by 0.5% points on February. China last cut its RRR in September, lowering it by 0.25% points to around 7.4%. The central bank's governor stated that more policies to offer support for the country's struggling property sector will be announced. And wrapping it up, oil marketers under the aegis of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria have berated Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited for allegedly delay in the supply of petroleum products. As a result, the marketers said they had been forced to boycott the NNPCL to source fuel from private depot owners at a higher cost. According to him, independent marketers own 80% of filling stations in Nigeria and as such deserve lion's share in fuel allocation. He narrated the marketers usually pay through the NNPCL portal with the hope of getting the product in 2 to 3 days, but that 2 to 3 days will turn into months if NNPCL do not have products or are out of stock. And that's how we call it a wrap on the Global AM News. I am Anthony Momodu saying thank you for watching. See you again.